Rewiring a house in a flood-prone area requires careful consideration of materials and installation techniques. Using underground feeder cable, commonly referred to as UF cable, for branch circuits in basements and first floors is a proactive measure to mitigate potential damage from future floods. Several contractors have experience with similar jobs. One contractor rewired a house in a flood zone using UF cable for all branch circuits on the basement and first floor. Years later, when the house flooded, the UF cable successfully protected the wiring from damage. Another contractor used UF cable in a similar situation, but improper installation led to cable damage during a flood, necessitating replacement. This underscores the importance of correct installation regardless of the cable type. Regarding the cost of UF versus Romex, UF cable is generally more expensive. The additional cost per opening varies based on factors like wire size, run length, and local labor rates. A general estimate suggests charging an extra 10 to 25% for UF cable installations. Consider several additional points. Firstly, waterproofing is critical. While UF cable is designed to withstand flooding, proper installation and waterproofing at all connections are essential. Secondly, grounding is important. UF cable includes a bare ground wire that must be grounded properly. This is especially important in wet environments where effective grounding is crucial for safety. Thirdly, protection is needed. Protect UF cable from mechanical damage like nails or staples by using appropriate clips or conduit to secure it. Fourthly, accessibility matters. UF cable can be more challenging to work with than Romex, especially in confined spaces or when making modifications. Plan the wiring layout accordingly. Regarding insurance considerations, the extra cost of UF cable is typically covered by insurance companies when implemented as a preventative measure. Obtain written documentation from the insurance company confirming approval and reimbursement for using UF cable. Maintain detailed records of all materials and labor costs associated with the UF cable installation. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for electrical installations. Article 334 covers non-metallic sheath cable, which includes Romex. Article 340 addresses underground feeder and branch circuit cable, which is UF cable. Several NEC sections are relevant to installations in wet or damp locations. Section 300.6 addresses protection against corrosion and deterioration. It specifies that metal components must be protected against corrosion when installed in damp or wet locations. Section 300.9 concerns grounding of equipment. It emphasizes the importance of grounding electrical equipment to prevent electrical shock hazards. Section 314.15 covers damp or wet locations. This section provides requirements for installing boxes and fittings in damp or wet locations. Specifically, it requires that boxes and fittings be designed to prevent moisture from entering and accumulating. Section 334.10 outlines uses permitted for non-metallic sheath cable. While Romex is permitted for many applications, it is not suitable for direct burial or use in wet locations. Section 340.10 specifies uses permitted for underground feeder and branch circuit cable. UF cable is permitted for direct burial and use in wet locations. Section 394.30 addresses securing and supporting UF cable. It provides requirements for securing and supporting UF cable to prevent mechanical damage. When installing UF cable, consider wire sizing and ampacity requirements. Ampacity refers to the maximum current, measured in amps, that a conductor can carry continuously without exceeding its temperature rating. The NEC provides tables that specify the ampacity of different wire sizes based on their insulation type and installation conditions. Table 310.15b16 is a commonly used table for determining the ampacity of conductors in raceways or cables. For example, a 12 American wire gauge or copper conductor with type THHN insulation has an ampacity of 30 amps at 75 degrees Celsius. A 14 AWG copper conductor with type THHN insulation has an ampacity of 20 amps at 75 degrees Celsius. When selecting the appropriate wire size, consider the load that the circuit will serve. For general lighting and receptacle circuits, a 12 AWG or 14 AWG conductor is typically used. For larger loads, such as appliances or heating equipment, a larger conductor size may be required. Voltage drop is another important factor to consider when selecting wire sizes. Voltage drop refers to the decrease in voltage along the conductor due to its resistance. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or operate inefficiently. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to no more than 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To minimize voltage drop, use larger conductor sizes or shorten the length of the circuit. Proper grounding is essential for electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, causing the circuit breaker or fuse to trip and to energize the circuit. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be grounded properly. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding. A grounding electrode system is used to connect the electrical system to the earth. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or a concrete-encased electrode. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode system to the equipment grounding bus in the electrical panel. Equipment grounding conductors are used to connect the metal enclosures of electrical equipment to the equipment grounding bus. This ensures that the metal enclosures are at the same potential as the ground, preventing electrical shock hazards. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are required in wet locations such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. A GFCI is a device that detects ground faults and quickly interrupts the circuit, preventing electrical shock. GFCIs are typically installed in receptacles or circuit breakers. When installing electrical wiring in a flood-prone area, it is important to use waterproof or water-resistant materials and methods. Seal all electrical connections to prevent water from entering. Use waterproof boxes and fittings. Consider using conduit to protect wiring from physical damage and water intrusion. Ensure that all electrical equipment is elevated above the expected flood level. This will help to prevent damage to the equipment and reduce the risk of electrical shock. In addition to using UF cable, consider other preventative measures to protect electrical systems in flood-prone areas. Install a backup generator to provide power during a power outage. Install a sump pump to remove water from the basement. Raise the electrical panel and other electrical equipment above the expected flood level. Develop a plan for shutting off the power in the event of a flood. These measures can help to minimize the risk of electrical damage and ensure the safety of occupants in the event of a flood. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with the NEC and local electrical codes. A qualified electrician can assess the specific needs of the home and recommend the most appropriate materials and methods for protecting the electrical system from flooding. Remember to obtain all necessary permits before starting any electrical work. Electrical permits are required to ensure that the work is performed safely and in accordance with applicable codes. An inspection will be conducted after the work is completed to verify that it meets the requirements of the electrical code. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. Consider attending continuing education courses or seminars to learn about changes to the NEC and best practices for electrical installations. Proper planning, material selection, and installation techniques are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems in flood-prone areas. By taking these precautions, it is possible to minimize the risk of electrical damage and protect occupants from electrical shock hazards.